What's up, Digidestins? This is Kyle D, better known as Ridemyavatar, and today we are going to go over the 5 amazing blue decks that you should give out a try. We already know that we're going to have top contenders left and right, but it might be fun to see some of the other blue decks that could definitely do some fun at some locals. So let's dive right into the video and let's see what we got. This decks on our list is going to be All Force Veeamon. So this deck is all about gaining hand advantage and draw advantage to help us hit for the restand of All Force Veeamon. So return one of your opponent's level 4 or lower Digimon to its owner's hand, trash all Digievolution cards from that card, and that's usually just popping a blocker that might be sitting in our way, but most decks have kind of went for an all aggro route, so you don't have to worry about too much on the blocking aspect because blue has been quite dominant. But what's really nice is when attacking, once per turn, if you have 8 or more cards in your hand, unsuspend this Digimon, which is huge, being able to unsuspend this Digimon. Next, we do have Arrow Veeamon. So while you have 8 or more cards in your hand, this Digimon gains security +1. So this one came from the trial deck, and it also has base jamming. Allowing us to have extra security checks means we can clear out multiple security at once. And then we also do have this one. So when attacking, if you have a blue tamer in play, unsuspend this Digimon. So this is the Arrow Veeamon from BT02. When this Digimon becomes unsuspended during your main phase, it gains jamming. So the first swing, it won't have the jamming. Actually, it will have it on the first swing because the unsuspend step happens in middle of that. So he'll unsuspend, he'll gain jamming. Congratulations, you have an Arrow Veeamon. I mean, an All Force Veeamon with jamming. Then we have Veeamon. So if you have 8 or more cards in your hand, return one of your opponent's level 3 Digimon to its owner's hand. Trash all the Digievolution cards from that Digimon. So being able to return a level 3 to hand means that you get to keep their board a little lighter. Gobumon, we kind of already know what he does from many other blue videos I have posted about him. So at the end of battle, play this card without paying its memory cost. On play, trigger draw 2. That is all he's in here for. That security, hopefully on play, might come in handy, but not all the time. Gobumon is in here for being the blocker 1 cost. Gobumon's here to Digivolve on our Davis and hopefully get us a win. Then we have Veeamon in here. So if you have 7 or fewer cards in your hand, trigger draw 1 when attacking, and it's not once per turn. So it's really nasty if you can get it to restand and get to 8, which is cool. And it also can warp itself into All Force Veeamon. Really does help out. Dracomon's in here for the on-play reveal top 3. Add a Drawmon to your hand. So Veeamon, Arrow Veeamon, All Force Veeamon are all valid targets along with Gobumon. We have a decent amount of pool to be able to hit, so that's why we play him. Then we have Veeamon. This one is from EX Collection. Once per turn, when this Digimon becomes unsuspended during your main phase, gain 1 memory. What can be really nasty about this card is that if you restand, he gains the memory. You can double Ice Wall on your opponent if they are trying to win on you. And congratulations, you kind of win on them because Ice Wall forces them to lose 4 memory every time this thing is stacked, basically. So you'll lose 2 memory every single time, but if you can stack this twice, it's instantly 4, 3 times 6, and then all 4 times. Congratulations, you are winning that. They swing, they lose a whopping 8 memory. They're gonna lose no matter what on that situation. Howling Memory Booster is in here to trash to slow down the opponent. You know, making it, if they have no evolutionary sources, congratulations, they can't swing or block. Hammer Spark's in here to be that annoying little 2 that gets popped off. Wingblade, return one of your opponent's level 6 or lowers to their hand. Trash all Digievolution cards from that Digimon. This is just to help alleviate board state and being able to keep your opponent at bay. Just getting rid of their big guys. Then we have Davis being Davis. Reveal the top 3 cards of your deck. Add 1 blue or green Digimon among them to your hand. Place the remaining cards at the bottom of the deck in any order. So he's just a guaranteed +1 in most instances. And then we have Omnimon being blitzed to close out the game. That is kind of all in all. And we have the Gobumon for that draw, just so that we are gaining enough advantage to keep that 8-card hand size minimum. Next, let's talk about it. We have Hexablaumon. No, we're not deleting this. We have Hexablaumon. It's got a decent amount of support. It's got an Ice Wall. It's also gotten the support in Ikakumon and Zudomon, and Pleziomon is such a nice little added touch. So we have Hexablaumon being Hexablaumon, being able to trash up to 2 Digi-Evolution cards from the bottom of one of your opponent's Digimon, and then if your opponent has a Digimon with no Digi-Evolution cards in play, this Digimon gains jamming. All your opponent's turn with no Digi-Evolution cards can't attack or block. What would be nasty is if they made something that trashes in the middle of combat on your opponent's turn, forcing your opponent to really rethink society, because if a Hexablaumon is on board, it would have been a hard counter to the Gobumon decks, because if you can any of the bond decks, because it only takes 2 trash, and congratulations, you definitely shut down their extra swings. Then you have Azulonmon being, when attacking, trash 1 card from the bottom of all your opponent's Digimon, then gain 1 memory for each of your opponent's Digimon with no Digi-Evolution cards. For each Digimon with no Digi-Evolution your opponent has in play, this Digimon gains security +1. This is your OTK strat. This is when you use Veeamon with it to restand if they have a board full of nothing. This will restand, check 5 security or more, depending on how many Digimon are on their field. If they only have 1, congratulations, you're only going to get an extra security check for 2, but the more they have, the scarier this card becomes. Pleziomon is another well added welcome to this deck. I gotta say, once per turn when your opponent's Digi-Evolution is trash, draw 2. So I feel like he's a great card. But what's really nasty about this little guy is that this Digimon can also attack your opponent's unsuspended Digimon with no Digi-Evolution sources. So if we can keep their sources at a minimum, we can use Pleziomon to start swinging into their guys and start taking out their Digimon pretty quickly and being effective to it. So allowing us to control their board state while controlling their ability not to attack us, leaving the only Digimon that can really hurt us are the ones in raising area. If they hard play anything, we're going to slowly take it down. So as they build up, we like to tear them down a peg. Kind of the simple strat of this. Mujiramon is in here for when Digivolving, trash 1 card from the top of your deck, opponent's Digimon, and then when attacking, if your opponent has no Digi-Evolution with Digi-Evolutions in play, unsuspend this Digimon. So your opponent has to have no Digimon with no Digi-Evolutions. Heads up. Then you have Crispieldramon. So when Digivolving, trash 1 Digimon from the bottom of all your opponent's Digimon. Helps quick removal. And then while your opponent has Digimon with no Digi-Evolution cards, this Digimon gains security +1. Really nasty little guy. He just does what he needs to. Here is another fantastic EX card for this deck. So when Digivolving, trash 1 card from the bottom of one of your opponent's Digimon. See as it fits the theme. But this Digimon can attack your opponent's unsuspended Digimon, no Digi-Evolution sources. Allowing the Plezio Ikaku line, well, Gobumon line from this set, really to kill off our opponent's Digimon. We want to be able to control board state. It gives us another route, because sometimes your opponent will just wall up and just build up a small board state, and then they'll just Digivolve up and then start swinging in. So now we have a way of just playing whack-a-mole with their unsuspended no resource Digimon, and that's what we kind of needed for Hexablaumon all in all. Then we have Grizzlymon being a blocker. Ikakumon's the same thing as Zudomon and Plezio's secondary skill is this: it can attack your opponent's unsuspended Digimon, no Digi-Evolution sources. Electmon's being Electmon for that 2-drop. Sayukamon is here to help make it so your opponent can't reduce the cost. So, 60% win rates and the Mega Fusions are completely shut off by this. And Green's a fantastic little ability of download is offline. Then you have Blue Kukumon. So when you trash a Digimon card of one of your opponent's Digimon, gain a memory. Same thing with the Gomamon. They both do the same thing, gain us a little extra memory boost. It only works if they don't have like a card like Madoke Betamon on board. A lot of decks are switching over to it, so you could definitely cut this down and add more Madokes to kind of hinder the Hammer Sparks and stuff like that, or the memory boosters offline. You just kind of need a way of shutting it down. Your opponent is really reliant on memory boosters now. Veeamon is here, so When this Digimon becomes unsuspended during your main phase, gain 1 memory. So this is to combo in with our good friend Majiramon. You can also gain memory that way, and it's just what it's going to do. Gorillamon's just a 1 cost evolve. Colamon is in here for that 1 cost evolve. And then Howling Memory Booster to trash sources and make it so your opponent cannot attack or block until the opponent's next turn, then place this Digimon in the battle area. This is what we kind of should get for a non-memory booster. Just make this Howling, and that would be pretty sick, I gotta say. That would be really awesome. Ice Wall's in here for that amazing lockdown play, just to slow down your opponent to be more in line with you. If you can make them not be able to swing multiple times in your face, you can definitely win. Davis is in here, so reveal the top 3 cards of your deck, add 1 blue or green. We're just going to get a blue Digimon out of this and place it on the top, and place the rest at the bottom in any order. And then we have Sora Joe, being that beautiful. When attacking with a blue Digimon, you may suspend this tamer, trash 2 Digi-Evolution cards from the bottom of one of your opponent's Digimon. That is the kind of end goal we are looking for, boys and girls. All in all, great deck. Omnimon Blitz, you know what he does. He restands, swings in, and takes out that final security that you might need. Keep that in the back burner. Next, let's talk about it. We have a Nokia Metal Gobumon Bonds deck. So we would call this Final Nokia. It's an upgrade from the last build that I presented in BT6. If you guys want to try it out, definitely test it out. It's all Gobumons, and you're still playing Bonds. It's just that fun little nifty deck. Veeamon's in here, so if you have 8 or more cards in hand, you gain 1000 DP. And Tsukimon is if this contains Garurumon or Omnimon, it gains plus 1000. So Gobumon is in here, so reveal the top, add a Garurumon, so we have plenty of targets to grab. And then an Omnimon to your hand, put the remaining, place the remaining at the bottom of the deck in any order. We're only going to be grabbing Garurumons out of this, no Omnimon in this deck. Gobumon is for the Bonds play. So if this Digimon is Gobumon Bonds Friendship, you may unsuspend it. It gets a free another attack. Then we have Gobumon. Reveal the top 3 cards of your deck, add 1 Tamer or Digimon with the Gobumon in its name from among them to your hand. Place the remaining cards at the bottom of the deck. Just helps us out in the long game. Then we have Gobumon. While this has 8 or more cards in your hand, this Digimon gains plus 1000 DP. And this is all turns, by the way, so it's just a constant buff. Then we have Garurumon. So when Digivolving, if this Digimon has Gobumon in his Digi-Evolutions, gain 1 memory. Boys and girls, that is what we love. We love that 1 memory game. So he becomes free if Nokia's out, and that could help us dig a little bit deeper. And that's what we kind of want to do. But he has an amazing inheritable. So while this Digimon is Garurumon or Omnimon in its name, gain 1000 DP. Then we have Colamon is going to be your blocker. And that's about it. Then we have Garurumon. So this one has an amazing inheritable. Once per turn, if you may play 1 Mat Ishida with a play cost 3 or less. This is strictly for the Bonds plays from your hand without paying its memory cost. So we can cheat him in pretty effectively. And then we do play Where Garurumon Sagittarius mode. While a Digimon with Where Garurumon in its name is in this Digi-Evolution cards, this Digimon gains a jamming. While this Digimon has Garurumon or Omnimon in its name, it gets 1000 DP. This is all turns. It gets nasty pretty quickly. So, really nasty. And then we also do have this Where Garurumon. So while your opponent has a Digimon with no Digi-Evolution cards, this Digimon gains security plus 1. You could definitely play the other Where Garurumon that self restands, but if it just comes down to it, if we can have a Digimon, in most instances, most people are hard playing stuff. So you can definitely have extra security checks with jamming. So that means about 2 security checks with this monstrosity with jamming. Then we have Metal Garurumon. When Digivolving, gain 1 memory for every 4 cards in your hand. So he can come in cheaper and cheaper. Even with Nokia, he could become free if you had the right amount of hand space. But our goal is just to have 8 cards in our hand. So if you have 8 or more cards in your hand and a Tamer in play, return one of your opponent's Digimon with on deletion effects to the bottom of the owner's deck. Trash all of their Digi-Evolution cards of that Digimon. So we're just hoping to delete and remove threats. Then we have Bonds of Friendship, because why not? This card, if you have a Tamer in play, unsuspend this Digimon, which is huge, and then return one of your opponent's level 5 or lower Digimon to the bottom on the owner's deck. Trash all Digi-Evolution cards to that Digimon. So That's huge. We're going to be popping, dropping, and not caring. Then we have Ice Wall, being all your opponent's Digimon gain lose 2 memory until the end of their next turn. Just fantastic card. It is Blue's bread and butter for a good while until the ban list hits, and I can't wait. Blue memory booster is to search and dig a little deeper. Matt's in here to warp into the bonds of friendship by just going off by if you trash the top 2 cards of your security stack. Then if you have 1 or more security, delete that Digimon at the end of turn. This just lets you warp it. That's all in all, and it has a nice ability, gain a memory and draw a card, so it's huge. And then Nokia is just in here to make things cheaper for us, and when digivolving one of your Digimon into a card named Gobumon, you can suspend her. Basically, all in all, well-rounded deck, really good for locals, have fun at it. And then let's talk about the big elephant in the room. We have the Bonds Ancient Gobumon with the inheritables of the Ice Wall. We already know what majority of this deck does since we've covered Ancient Gobumon being able to restand itself. This will create two attacks on its own. This creates 2 attacks on its own naturally, but becomes 3 if done with Bonds of Friendship with this Gobumon right here. You know, pretty simple all-around deck. You kind of get the gist of it. Howling Memory Boost, Ice Wall, Blue Memory Boost, Hammer Sparks, Cocytus Breaths, you know, bounce stuff, analog use in here, so when our Ancient Gobumon dies, it can pass back to our turn, and then we can play an Ice Wall in response and punish our opponent a little heavily. Or even what's scarier is if they kill one of our Digimon that is level 5 or higher on their turn while we have them under an Ice Wall effect, we can force it to be our turn at that point. If it brings them to 0, analog youth will bring it over to 1 for us, and then congratulations, we hit our turn. Our Davises will trigger, and then we'll just OTK them from there. Kendo Gurumon's in here to be that fun-loving pop a level 3 to your, and then trash all cards. Again, they're just here to do their job. Lobomon's in here to help warp into the Ancient Gobumon, and then you have Bonds of Friendship being warped in from with the mat. So all in all, kind of just general idealism. The EX collection added this card, revealing the top 3. Helps a little bit better than just relying on this guy. And this one is just your draw. And this one is look at the top 3 of your deck. Add 1 Digimon card with hybrid in his form and or blue tamer from among them to your hand. Place the remaining cards. Valid targets are Lobo, Kendo, Lobo, and himself. And then tamers. That is it. Nothing else can be targeted or grabbed by him. So keep that in mind, and Upamon's just for that draw. And then let's talk about everybody's fan favorite Imperial Dramon. This Imperial Dramon has been covered probably a few times in my videos. Imperial Dramon, if you have a Digimon card with 3 in its traits, this Digimon evolutions, unsuspend this Digimon, unsuspend one, and suspend one of your opponent's Digimon. For each color this Digimon Digi-evolution has, gain 1000 DP. That's kind of huge. We're now hitting over big Unga numbers. We are hoping to at least hit for 12, and that might help us get there. That's our only goal at the end of the day, is to hit for 12s and just win from there. Ice Wall to wall up. And the more we slam down on one turn, the better. It's also about well timing the turn. Do not just slam down Ice Wall just because you can. That is a terrible strategy. Do not do that. So definitely pay attention to that. We have Veeamon being Veeamon. I talked about him earlier in the videos in this deck profiles. When you become unsuspended, gain a memory. That's huge for this deck. Jamming Veeamon just to be restood by this Imperial Dramon. And this one is in here, so when this Digimon becomes unsuspended during your main phase, draw a card. This helps us just gain more advantage. Madoke is to help against other annoying little memory booster decks or Hammer Spark decks. Just shutting them down is just 9/10 of the battle. Then Veeamon is your opponent Digimon has 6, doesn't require for this one, but if you have 7 or fewer cards, draw a card. We just want to gain some card advantage. So that's huge for us. Veeamon is unsuspend one of your level 4 or lower Digimon. This will help combo in with the Veeamon to push early aggro. So definitely think of it that way. Then we have Lobomon that digivolves on top of a tamer, hits our Davises. Congratulations. Kolomon is in here for blocker. Veeamon is huge with his jamming in himself, but also while this Digimon has Imperial Dramon in his name or free in its traits, gain jamming. So this makes it so our biggie boy now can hit ridiculously into that security and not care. Then we have Pyldramon, being this Digimon has Imperial Dramon in his name, unsuspend it. And then while this Pyldramon is a brand new one, when digivolving, if you have a free and straight Digimon Digievolution cards, unsuspend this Digimon so he can swing in twice. He combos very well with his Veeamon counterpart, so that maybe you can swing in with him, then digivolve into Pyldramon, triggering its free ability to restand himself, and then swing in again for 2 checks with jamming early on, making it a very threatening card. While this Digimon has Imperial Dramon in his name, it cannot be blocked. This is your out in the big black blocker matchup, because if you can swing in and not care, you're just going to win it, because as long as they can't block you, you're winning. And then this Imperial Dramon is just in there for jamming, unsuspend all your Digimon with jamming. Nothing too crazy, nothing too extreme. Omnimon is unsuspend this Digimon, and then we kind of know he's the OTK finisher that we need. If under the right circumstances and the enough memory is to play, you could definitely go Davis, 3, pop a blue memory booster, and then drop 2 Hammer Sparks. That will bring you to a whopping big boys numbers. You'll have 3, 5, 6, 7 to play with. So you could definitely climb up really nicely. By what do I mean by that? You could get pretty close to 8 if you're in the right circumstances. So what do I mean by that? Veeamon goes into any of these Veemons, preferably this one. So this Veemon will give us the 8th memory we need. So you could do this all in one go, in one shot, if everything comes in the stars align right. Magic Christmas Land. We're going to digivolve into this Veemon. We're going to swing in with jamming, 1 attack. Digivolve into this Pyldramon. Now it has jamming. Swing in for 2 attacks. And then we'll digivolve into either this Imperial Dramon, Dragon Mode, for each card. So he'll restand himself. That brings us to 3 attacks by himself in this one line, 8 memories, and then we'll go into Omnimon, bringing us to 4 attacks. This is quite crazy, very powerful, and all in all, really sets your opponent for getting knocked down hardcore. So guys, what do you think of all these lists? Let me know down in the comments. Did I make any bad calls in cards? I would love to hear it. And until next time, I'll catch you in the next video. Peace!